I almost fell off the chair there. Hey guys, welcome to today's video. So today I'm going to be doing a one brand full face tutorial. I'm going to be using products from only one brand, and today it's going to be Charlotte Tilbury. I got a lot of new stuff from Charlotte Tilbury like over Christmas time. A lot of it was part of my Christmas haul. Yeah, so I do want to test that stuff, and I thought I have enough stuff here to do like a full face, so I thought why not do it with you guys. So I have prepped and moisturized my skin. Now we're going to get started with a primer. So Charlotte Tilbury has a bunch of primers. There's the Wonder Glow, there is the Unisex Healthy Glow, Brightening Youth Glow, but I don't own any of those. So what I'm going to do is actually use my Hollywood Flawless filter, which is a liquid highlight, but it's actually very similar, and it's supposed to be very similar to the MAC Strobe Light, which I know a lot of people use as a like illuminating primer. Now I'm combo skin, but the foundation that I'll be using is her new Airbrush Flawless foundation, which is a more matte finish, so I think these two will go well together. It's actually supposed to be hydrating as well, so I think it's very commonly used as a primer. I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of just apply a little bit as if it were like a foundation. I have never used this. There's a few products that I have kind of played around with a little bit since my haul, but this is not one of them. So I'm excited to try this out. This is like a really popular product. Okay, so as you can see, it's definitely helped make my face look a little more glowy. All of my high points, a little bit on my forehead. It does feel kind of moisturizing, but not like overly like oily or greasy. It feels actually really nice. So yeah, so far so good. And I'm actually gonna kind of try this on the cheekbones afterwards as well. But next we're gonna be trying the new foundation. These two, along with the concealer, the Wonder Magic Away liquid concealer wand, and the airbrush powder, all of these products I got in the haul. So these are all going to be tested. I've tested these three right here once. This was the only one I hadn't tested yet. It's not my like very first impression, but they're still pretty new to me, and we're still kind of testing them out. I got this in the shade 3 Neutral. It's a tiny bit dark for me, but that's actually more common than it should be with my foundations. It's hard to find a match. It's really not that bad. Like the undertone matches my skin really well. It's just like a touch, maybe a half shade too dark, but I think it's still pretty good. I really liked this the first time I tried it. It's pretty full coverage, and it's buildable, and it's like matte without looking dry. It doesn't look dry on the skin at all, which I really, really like. I really like this foundation upon application, and I did the first time as well. As you can see, it is like kind of a satin finish. It's like matte, but it still has, and maybe because I did use it with this, but I did notice it the first time I used it as well. It did have like tiny bit of a sheen to it, enough just to make it look like that healthy glow on the skin. A lot of my matte foundations, even my favorite ones, do sometimes make my skin look a little more dull and dry. So I typically have to use really hydrating products underneath and over top. But this one I feel is a pretty balanced foundation, so I do really enjoy it as of right now. The first time I wore it, it did wear really nicely. Now, the first time I wore it, I did use it with the concealer as well, and I did see a little bit of caking. Still don't know whether it was this one that got a little bit funky or if it was the concealer. If I had to guess, I think it's the concealer, just because it was in those spots where I had concealer. Sometimes products don't layer very well together either, but you would think that these two would. So, anyways, long story short, I do feel like before I give you guys kind of an opinion about it, I do need to test.
My apologies. I couldn't hear what you said.
I don't know what's going on. I got an Apple Watch for Christmas from my husband, and a lot of the time when I'm recording, the Apple Watch thinks I'm talking to it. So I don't know. Do I say things that sound like Siri? I don't know. I do need to test these products a little bit more before I give you my final opinion on them. So I will probably update you in my next video, which is my monthly favorites. I'll test them a couple more times before I record that, and then I will let you guys know what I think of them. I do have a feeling it's the concealer, or it could have just been one of those like fluky days where your makeup just doesn't last very well. You know, maybe I sweat a lot. Maybe my son was like touching my face. I don't even remember. I just wanted to kind of put that out there, that there are a couple things I noticed the first time I wore them, but I don't have the confidence to say how I feel about them yet. So that's me just blabbering on about, basically trying to tell you that I don't know how I feel yet. Another thing, I don't know about this concealer, guys. So I've used it one time and like it looks messy already. I don't know if because it was really, I had to like twist it and twist it and twist it and twist it and twist it to get it going. And then it was like too much came out. So be careful with that. So despite what I just said about the concealer, I wasn't trying to like bash it because I really don't know what was going on that day. And it wasn't like really bad. It was just little like nitpicking type things. Despite what I just said, like look at how nice and smooth this concealer looks. I do really like the way that it applies. I just need to test them individually. So I'll test the foundation with a concealer I know and love, and then I'll test the concealer with a foundation I know and love. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and set my whole face with the Airbrush Flawless Finish Skin Perfecting Micro Powder. I have it in 1 Fair. This is supposed to be just a really, really ultra smoothing and blurring pressed powder. I'm gonna just make sure I have no creasing underneath the eyes. Then what I'm gonna actually do is take my Beauty Blender. I love to set my under eye with my Beauty Blender because it's just like smoothing to the skin. I don't know. Okay, and then now I'm going to take like a larger brush and then kind of just set the rest of the face. So that's what the face looks like now set. And it's looking very smooth. I really think I'm gonna like that powder. Like the under eye and like this area looks very smooth, and I didn't even use a pore filling primer. Like I didn't even really use any primer at all. Like this is technically not a primer. And my pores look like gone. They're gone. So that's really cool. I think it's kind of a combination of all the product. I definitely noticed a big difference in texture in my skin when I used this the first time and today. I feel like it really smooths out the skin, but I also think this as well. The rest of the products that I'm using today, I have tested and I am more familiar with. So we kind of got the testing out of the way. Now let's play. I don't have an eyeshadow primer from Charlotte Tilbury, so I'm going to use the concealer. You can use concealer as an eyeshadow primer. I don't love to do it. It's not my preferred way to prime my eyes, but it definitely works. If you're in a pinch, you don't have any eye primer, it definitely works. First, I'm gonna do brows to like frame my kind of eyes a little bit. So I have 2 eyeshadow palettes from Charlotte Tilbury. I have the Pillow Talk palette, and I do have the Bejeweled Eyes to Hypnotize palette. I think I'm gonna use the newer one just because it's newer. That's basically my only reasoning. I love both palettes. I'm gonna actually use this brown for my brows. I don't think it's gonna be quite dark as I would like it to, but I'm really going in. I'm not cheating anywhere. If I don't have it, then I'm not using it. So I don't have a brow product, so I'm gonna use eyeshadow. So I'm just gonna go ahead and quickly do my brows off camera because they take me 30 million years. Okay, so my brows are looking a little bit auburn. That brown, despite how it looks in the actual pan, has a little more red undertones than I thought. But I'm not cheating, and I'm gonna stick with it. It doesn't look that bad, I don't think, especially once I have makeup on. Looks a little bit off when you compare it to my hair. It definitely looks a little bit red, but we're gonna ignore it. Let's do eyeshadow. I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of play with this, and I will kind of walk you through what I'm doing if you want to follow along. So I'm gonna go let's start with this matte light brown in the Happy Glow Trio, and we're gonna kind of fluff that one. Start with the transition shade. I love Charlotte Tilbury's eyeshadow. It's one of my favorite things that, honestly, it's a very well-rounded brand. A lot of times I feel like brands are very frequently dominant in one area, but I do feel Charlotte Tilbury is a little bit more of a well-rounded brand. I think she comes out with a lot of great stuff: complexion, cheek, eyes, all that. I think there are definitely products from each category that are, really popular, well-known, and great quality products from each category. And I really, really like Charlotte Tilbury's eyeshadows. Really, really pigmented, really blendable. Like as you can see, this is effortless. We're gonna go in with the same brown I used for my brows, and we're gonna kind of carve out the crease a little bit. Let me fill you in on what brushes I've been using, duh. I used a Morphe R38 for the transition shade, and then I just was using it to blend out that darker brown. My MAC 224S to do the dark crease building. And then now I'm taking a Morphe M332 with that metallic purple, and I'm going to use that to kind of darken the outer crease. These metallics do have a little bit of fallout, so just be careful. So I want to kind of blend the purple into the brown. Then I'm just going to blend them together with that brush I used for the brown, the MAC brush. So now I'm going to use my finger with that same dark purple, and I'm going to press it on the outer half of the lid, connecting it kind of and blending it into that purple I applied in the crease. I'm now going to take the middle shade here. It looks very pink, but it actually comes off with a bit more like purple, like darker purple shift to it. It's a bit of a duochrome. So I'm gonna apply that in the center of the lid, and it's just going to have that nice like transition. So you go from that dark purple to like the duochrome pink, and then we'll go into the lightest shade. And now I'm going to take the lighter shade with my finger, and I'm going to apply that in the inner part of the lid to brighten it up a little bit and connect it to that middle metallic. Okay, now I'm going to take a smaller brush, and I'm going to take that same light shade and I'm going to wet it using my Charlotte Tilbury airbrush setting spray. And when it's wet, they look so bright. I absolutely love her metallics. So for my lower lash line, use this matte brown. Then I'm going to take this brush with no additional product and just kind of buff that out a little bit. And then I'm going to take the lighter brown on the fluffier brush and just very lightly kind of blow it out a little bit more, smoke it out a little bit more, kind of matching the top. And then we'll just take the light pink shade and bring it down here a little bit. So I typically would do liner. I do love a good winged liner, but I do really like the way that this look is looking right now. I think just popping on some mascara would look really nice. Also, I don't have a liner. Now I'm going to be using the newest mascara, which is the Pillow Talk Push-Up Lashes. I'm going to be completely honest, this is not my favorite mascara. I love the way that it curls and lifts your lashes. I do think it gives and it delivers pretty good volume. I personally have kind of short lashes and I feel like it doesn't deliver enough length. So if you have really short lashes, I don't know if you're gonna love this. If you look for length in a mascara, this isn't maybe the one. Now that being said, you could layer it with a more lengthening mascara, like apply a good lengthening mascara, one that really elongates your lashes, and then apply this over top, especially focusing on the base. It really separates the lashes well. It really does a great job, again, at lifting those lashes. So I do think it is a good mascara. It's going to be the best for people that have a lot of length, but want that curl and volume. So that's kind of my opinion. It's not the worst, but it's definitely not the best. And for such a high price, I prefer other mascaras over this one, but it's not like it's so bad I don't want to use it. It's usable for sure. I think I would enjoy it more on like a no eyeshadow day, because then you'll notice the lashes more. But when you have eyeshadow on, if they're not long enough, they kind of get lost. By the way, this isn't sponsored. I never mentioned that at the beginning. When I got all this new Charlotte Tilbury stuff, I'm like, you know what? I have enough stuff to do a full face of Charlotte Tilbury. And then after thinking about this, I've actually noticed there's other brands I have enough to do. Like I definitely have enough MAC stuff to do a full face of MAC, which I think I'm gonna do soon. You know what? I think I like this mascara better when I don't have eyeliner on, because it's your lashes are more in focus when you don't have eyeliner. So that's a positive. See, this is why we do full face tutorials. But yeah, it's not sponsored. I wanted to kind of put that out there. Okay, so the eye look is done. Let's move on to the contour. I'm going to be using my Film Star Bronze and Glow. This is the mini one, but it is a contour duo. It has a contour and a highlight. Absolutely love this. This is one of my... I almost fell off the chair there. It's one of my absolute favorite powder contours. So phenomenal. So smoothing, and it's like the perfect shade. This one is in light to medium, and I think they have like a medium to, or like deep and dark. They do have a darker one. Another thing I love about this is it just blends out so like seamlessly. Doesn't get patchy, it just blends and melts in your makeup, no powder finish. I do have these tints. These are actually new. They came out with like a pre-sale and I got them in time. These are the Tinted Love Lip and Cheek Tints, and they are really, really nice. I'm still not sure how I feel about them for the cheeks. I do really like the way that they look. I'm going to just show you. The darker ones are really nice, but I do want to use one of the, like the more burgundy one. I think that would match. Like it's not going to be too contrasting. So I'm going to use the more nude one for the cheeks just to show you what they look like. And I do recommend a sponge because they are a little bit more wet. With a brush, I find that they sometimes play with the makeup a little bit too much, whereas the sponge is just pressing it in. If you're going to use a brush or a sponge, I recommend applying it to the brush or sponge and not directly to the face because they do stain. And so if you don't blend it in soon enough, then you will notice that it will like kind of stain that little dot, and then it'll be darker there. So as you can see, there's not a whole lot of difference, but I do feel like as they dry and set, they get a little bit darker. So I would recommend going in slow because I have, especially with the darker ones, like with the red ones, I've done them on the cheek. And they are a little bit, because they stain the skin, they're a little bit harder to blend out. But once you get them to the desired effect, they do last a really long time and they do look nice. If they're going to be best on bare skin or underneath powder, I don't know. This is what I mean. Like I don't really know how I feel about them on the cheeks. The lighter shades are very natural, and then the darker shades are definitely more noticeable. Like on the cheeks, they use a little bit and just like start there because once they're there, it's again hard to blend out. I do like them on the lips though, for sure on the lips, because on the lips, I feel like they do stain and so they will last a long time. I will say there's one thing about them being on the lips is they kind of leave this like weird finish on your lips, and if you were to lick your lips, like it kind of feels like there's this weird like film. Try not to lick your lips until they're fully set, because once they're fully set, that's when it's like fully stained, I've noticed. If that film, or like, it's hard to explain. Like it feels like there's something on your lips, and then once that comes off, it's still the color underneath, but just let it sit for a bit, because if you like play with your lips too much, it's gonna kind of wear off before it sets, if that makes sense. Because that blush is not as noticeable as I'd like it to be, I am going to go in with one of her Cheek to Chic Swish and Pop blusher. This is in Sex on Fire. I really, really like these blushes. They are powder blushes, but they are very lightweight. They don't look powdery. They blend right into the makeup and into the skin. Pigmented, yet super blendable. And now we're going to try this Flawless Filter as the highlight. I am going to use the sponge again, just because I love using my sponge for everything. Ooh, that's pretty. No wonder everybody loves this. I really liked it underneath the makeup. I feel like it really did liven up my makeup. It's kind of like sometimes it's playing with fire when you place cream products over top of powder. It can like make or break your makeup. Sometimes they look like the smoothest thing you've ever seen, and sometimes they totally lift and ruin your makeup. This is actually doing a really nice job. It didn't lift any of the foundation, and it didn't accentuate any texture. It didn't make, the makeup underneath go funky. I think it's doing a good job. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is lips, and then we're all done. My full face, I have not used one product, other than brushes, obviously. I haven't used one product that is not Charlotte Tilbury. So the last thing is lips. I am gonna actually go in with one of the reds. What do you think? I think the more burgundy, the cherry one is Trippin' on Love, and then I do actually have a pink one called Petal Pink. And it is like a lighter one, a little bit natural, similar to that Santa Euphoria, the nude that I placed on my cheeks. So these are like the lighter options. These are the darker red options. And then there's like a more like orangey kind of reddish shade. A lot warmer. But I didn't get that one because I don't love like orangey shades. I'm going to go ahead, apply this on the lips and show you how this looks on its own. Now these ones are quite pigmented. And just be careful because it is hard to remove it once you've put it on there because it's a tint. So it's ultimately staining the skin. The applicator is quite thin and pointed at the end, which I like. So you can kind of line the lip. As you can see, you can kind of build it to be a little bit more opaque. You could even place one layer on your lips and use your finger to kind of pat it into the lip, and it will look a little bit more of just like a flushed lip instead of like a full-on lip. This is the Superstar Lips in the shade Pillow Talk. Basically, it's like a glossy finish lipstick. I'm gonna apply that in the center because it is a little bit lighter and it'll add like a little bit of a sheen. Makes it look a little bit purple actually. And then just because I absolutely love this thing, I'm gonna apply some of my Jewel Lips gloss in Pillow Talk. Phenomenal gloss. It's extremely flattering and it really just makes your lips look really full and juicy. So this is the full look of Charlotte Tilbury products. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and ring the bell if you're new here. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed. And I'll see you guys next time.